But for my skin, girl, trust me, it can take it.
And we can ride the boogie, share that beat of love. I wanna.
Hi guys, it's Nyah. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. If you are new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and also turn on your post notifications before you leave. In today's video, I show you guys my simple everyday makeup routine. This is the kind of makeup routine that I do not every day, but most days throughout the week when going to school, just to make myself feel a little bit more refreshed and put together. A look like this is good for every day, whether you're going to work, to school, or even if it's just to run errands. This is typically what my go-to makeup routine looks like. So if you're interested in seeing how I got this look and how to achieve it, then be sure to keep on watching. Okay, so first things first, I always like to start off by washing my face and moisturizing, and I've done that already earlier this morning. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and apply some chapstick, because that's usually my next step. It's always to put some sort of moisturizer on my lips, whether that be chapstick, a lip balm, anything like that. Today we're doing chapstick. So I have my Burts Bees right here, and I'm just going to apply that. Okay, and so now that we have that down, we can go ahead and get into the makeup application. So first things first, I always like to start off with some sort of primer. This is my tried and true. It is the Rimmel Stay Matte Primer, and I've used this one for years. It's just always worked for me and my oily skin. So I'm just gonna take like a pea-sized amount of this and apply it to my entire face. Really focusing it on the center of my face, because that is where I get the most oily. And I'm just gonna get a little more, because, you know, just to be on the safe side. I have some very oily skin, and this likes to be stubborn sometimes, so I'm just gonna go ahead and double up on the primer. Okay, and so now that that's applied, we're just going to go ahead and take it a step further and set the primer in place. I learned this trick a few years ago, and it honestly changed the way that I apply my makeup forever, because with my oily skin, it can be hard to maintain the longevity of my makeup sometimes, and that is why this step is so important to me in my makeup routine. So I just take some sort of translucent powder. The one that I'm currently using is the Maybelline Fit Me, and I have it in the shade light medium 20, and I'm just going to add a very light layer of this all over my face. So I'm going to take my sponge, get a little bit of it, and apply it. Again, really focusing on the center of my face, because that is where I get the most oily. Right up in the T-zone, and like on this very center part of my cheeks. The nose too, I never skip the nose, because that gets just as oily. Okay, and just like that, we look super duper crazy, but I promise this step is so beneficial. So next up, I like to do my brows. Brows shape the face, brows frame the face. So in any type of makeup routine, I always start off with my brows just to give me an outline. So I'm going to go ahead and do my brows, and to do them today, I'm going to be using this NYX micro brow pencil. And unless you're new to my channel, then you would know that I usually use another brow pencil, but I ended up breaking my last one. How I did that, I don't know, but it's broken, and I already have this in my drawer. So instead of opening up another one right now, I might as well go ahead and use this one. So I've been using this one to do my brows lately, but if it wasn't for that, then I would just use my normal one. So yeah, I'm just using this for now. But I'm going to go ahead and go off camera to do my brows, and then come right back just to save us some time. My brows can take me anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. It just kind of depends on how dirty they want to do me that day. So to save us some time here, I'm going to go ahead and fill them in off camera, and then I'll come right back when I'm done. Okay guys, so I'm back and my brows are on. I also went and dampened my sponge, so we are good to go. But really quickly, I'm going to go in and conceal the bottom of my brows. And to do so, I'm just using my Nars concealer on a fluffy concealer brush. This is my favorite concealer brush ever. And when I don't care about being too precise when it comes to cleaning up my brows, which I never do on a day-to-day basis, I always go in with this brush. And believe it or not, I got this brush years and years ago from my mom. Like, I took it out of her makeup bag when I first started to do makeup. And it's still my favorite concealer brush. There's also this other brush that I got from her. That one is for eyeshadow, but they all came in a set together, and that's a really good brush as well. That's my favorite eyeshadow brush because it's a really good blending brush, like for crease colors and stuff. It's really good for blending. I feel like the best makeup brushes are usually super duper old and they come from your mama. Like, I've had those brushes for years, and I'm pretty sure she probably had them for years before I took them, and they still work so good. There's no brushes that compare to them. Like, they're super soft and good for blending. Here's the other brush that I was telling y'all about. This is my favorite eyeshadow brush ever, and I wish I knew where she got them from so that I could buy more, but I'll probably never find them again. But these are some really good brushes. But anyway, next we're gonna hop straight into the face so that we can look a little less crazy. And for this, I'm just going to take my sponge, and I have my foundations right here. This one is by Maybelline, and it's their Dream Liquid Mousse in the shade 120 Caramel. And this is actually discontinued, but this is my favorite foundation ever. I love everything about it, from the formula to the color. Everything is just perfect for me. This is my exact shade without me having to add anything or blend anything. And I always struggled with finding good foundation shades for my skin tone. I'm more of an olive tone, so sometimes foundations can be a little too orange for me, or they can be way too pink for me. And this is like the perfect medium in between shade, and this matches me all throughout the year, and it's just an overall great shade. But they did discontinue this a few years back, and it used to be that you could find this in some low-key stores like CVS or even Walgreens, or like a Family Dollar or Dollar General or something. I think even like a year ago you could still find another bottle of this, but now it's completely gone, and I hate that because this is my favorite foundation and it came from the drugstore. What they did was they reformulated it, and they have like 2 new foundations that have a similar name, and I don't know which one would be the most similar to this, but I'm pretty sure that wouldn't work nearly as the same since they both have different names, different shade names, and all of that. And it's just really unfortunate. Like, I feel like every time I find some kind of good makeup product that I like, it always ends up being discontinued. And I'm the type of person who doesn't really like to change out staple products in their makeup routine unless it's like an eyeshadow palette or something like that. My mood is kind of like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So I usually like to stick with the same kind of products in my makeup routine. But with this, I'm going to have to find a replacement very soon, because as y'all can see, I don't have that much left. And I just love this because it was so perfect. Like, from the formula to the color, everything was so good about it. Although I have oily skin, I'm not really the type of person who likes super matte foundations. This one is more of a satin finish foundation, and I really like the way that it worked with my skin type and stuff like that. With me having oily skin, I do sometimes struggle with finding foundations and things for like the longevity of my makeup, because after a few hours with most foundations, it'll just become super oily and it's just like a mess. But with this one, I could get a few hours of wear out of it, so it's going to be very hard trying to find something to replace it. But for now, I'm just going to use it until it's gone. So today I'm going to be going in with this along with this other foundation. Now, like I said, I never need to mix anything with this other foundation, but for this one, I'm just kind of trying to use it up. When I got it, it was a little too orange for my skin, so I just mixed it in with this one, and I'm just going to try to use it until it's gone. So I add like a pump of this one, and then I'll add like a half a pump of this one. I don't usually like to wear a lot of foundation. Like, I like for my makeup to be very lightweight on my skin, and so I do not use a lot of foundation at all. Never have. So this is going to be just enough. But before I do that though, I kind of forgot that I had a little friend over here that I need to cover. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this, and then we'll apply the foundation. so I'm just spot concealing real quick to cover up my little friend over here. Okay, so now we can go in with the foundation. And I just spread it evenly all over my face, starting off with my cheeks, and then I just blend. And when it comes to applying foundation, you always want your sponge to be damp. Never wet, but not dry. You want it to be damp because this way it's not going to soak up too much product, but it's also going to blend the foundation onto your face beautifully and seamlessly this way. So I've always dampened my sponge when it comes to applying foundation. And as y'all saw, I did not apply any foundation directly to my nose nor my forehead. I never like to do that because, as I told you guys earlier in the video, my nose is one of the places that I get oily very fast, and so to avoid the oils, I just usually try to apply less product there. The less product, the better when it comes to getting oily and stuff. You also don't want to look cakey either, so to avoid all of those things, I just don't apply foundation directly to my nose. What I'll usually do is just take whatever's left on my sponge and then go over my nose. And as for my forehead, I never like to apply foundation directly to it either because my forehead is one of the drier areas on my face. My forehead and around my mouth, they can be dry sometimes, and also my forehead can look textured at times. So to avoid looking cakey, I never apply foundation directly to my forehead either. This way everything just looks nice and evenly blended, and this method is what works the best for me. So like I said, I just blend whatever's left on my sponge onto my nose and forehead. And if I hadn't told you guys that, you wouldn't even have known. It just looks very seamless without the cakiness. So this is how I usually do it. Okay, so now that we have our foundation all the way on, we can now go in with concealer. And for concealer, I'm going to go back in with my Nars Radiant Concealer. And this is in the shade Chestnut. And I'm just going to go in and apply this under my eyes. And that is the only place that I'm going to apply this concealer. And the reason that I only apply it underneath my eyes is because for my everyday makeup routine, it's really unnecessary for me to go in anywhere else with this. I'm not someone who likes a super bright face or anything. I like for my everyday makeup to look very, very natural. And it's unnecessary for me to apply concealer all over my face. I don't like a super dramatic contrast between my highlight and contour. I like for everything to look cohesive, natural, and seamless. So under the eyes is the only place that I really need to brighten. So this is the only place that I apply concealer directly to. My whole everyday makeup routine is avoiding cakiness and having extra product where we don't need it. Like, I like for this to be as natural as possible and as light as possible. So for me, I only really need to brighten under my eyes. So that's the only place that I apply concealer to. We will get a little bit more of the brightening effect from our powder when we apply it, but other than that, I don't really need to brighten any other area. Next up, we're going to go in and just blend everything, make sure everything's nice and seamless. You want to kind of blend under here because you don't want any harsh lines or anything. Also, don't neglect this area because sometimes you can put foundation here and then skip, and then it just looks like a whole disconnect over here. You always want to avoid that, so always like try to blend it up into your ears as well. You don't want it to look like it's going in a circle, as my mom would say. So always make sure to like blend it over here and make sure not to skip anything on the forehead. And now that we have all of our blending done, we're going to go ahead and set our entire face with powder. And to do so, I'm going to go in again with my Maybelline translucent powder. And with this, I'm just going to set my entire face. First, going in underneath the eyes, since that is where we put the concealer. We don't want any creasing to happen under here, so we're just gonna go ahead and set. And with this powder, you do have to be careful because I have heard people say that it will leave a sort of a white cast, but since I don't do any other brightening with concealer and things, I don't really mind that it gives me a little bit more of a brightening effect. With any other translucent setting powder, you wouldn't have to worry about this happening. Like with my Laura Mercier, I never have to worry about the powder not coming off whenever I go to brush it off, but with this one, it does leave behind kind of a white cast from the powder. So if you're concerned about that, I would definitely say go up a shade in this powder. Also, I would say not to bake with this powder and apply it in layers like you're about to see me do in just a second. But I don't really mind the brightening effect of it for me, because with me not using any concealer on the other areas of my face, it's not really going to make that much of a difference. And also, this method works the best with my skin type. It's just giving me an extra layer of powder, which you can never go wrong with when you have oily skin. So I apply it with my sponge first, then I go in with the fluffy brush and just set my entire face with the powder. And if you guys notice, I only went in with the sponge and applied it underneath my eyes because I kind of wanted to sit and settle there. But as for like my cheeks and stuff like that, I don't want it to brighten my entire cheek up. So I go in and set it with a fluffy brush. And this way, it just puts just enough powder. It doesn't really deposit any color. I don't really give it time to sit and settle into my skin in order for it to like make a difference in color there. I just kind of tap it onto the skin in order to get rid of any shine left behind and stuff like that. And that is really all I needed to do right there. Now I'm going to go in and wipe underneath my eyes. But now I'm going to go back on my nose and apply a little bit more powder there because my nose gets oily and I just don't want it to get oily super quickly. So to beat it to the punch, I just extra set my nose sometimes. And I promise y'all, this isn't going to make a difference at all. Like, if anything, this is going to help. It always helps to add an extra layer of powder onto my nose with how oily it is. If you don't have oily skin, I would not recommend adding this much powder to your face. I add this much powder just because I know that my oily skin can handle it. But if you have any other skin type, I would not recommend adding this much powder to your face because you're going to look very dry and cakey. But for my skin, girl, trust me, it can take it. So I'm also going to add a little powder right here. And the reason I do this is because this is where my smile lines are. And sometimes the makeup can settle into your smile lines sometimes if you have them. Ladies, if y'all have very deep smiles, then you know what I'm talking about. So to avoid my makeup like creasing up right here, I usually just like poke my cheek out like that and apply a little powder right there. So yes, now we can move on to the eyes. Now we can move on to the next step, which is usually bronzing. And so to do this, I usually take my Black Radiance Soft Focus powder. This is not an actual bronzer. It's literally just a face powder, but I used to use their bronzer that they had in like their face kit. And because that little palette in that container is so small, you will run out of that product so quickly. I just started buying the actual powder instead. And this way, I just don't run out of my bronzer so quickly. It's literally the exact same thing, but just in a bigger pan. You have more product and it just has a different name. So sometimes you have to figure some stuff out like that. But anyway, I'm just going to use this on the entire perimeter of my face to add some warmth back into my skin. And I'm not someone who likes to contour or anything. I'm more of a bronzer type of girl because it just looks more natural to me and it's good for everyday wear. So I'm going to bronze. And this is literally my favorite step. Without bronzer, we'll be looking like a ghost out here and we just can't have that. So I literally love my bronzer. So I always go on the sides of my forehead, underneath my cheekbone, kind of underneath the lip. and then the chin. And I discovered this way of bronzing my chin a little while ago. It's just going down the sides to define like your chin a little bit more. I don't really know how to describe it, but just kind of go on both sides of your mouth right here and then go underneath to square it off. And of course we're gonna get the jawline to help us look more snatched. And I'm very messy with this, but don't worry about that though, because we are going to go back in with the sponge later to blend everything out. And I'm not someone who is super particular about their nose contour or anything, because I'm not trying to change the shape of my nose. It's literally just to add some warmth back into it and to define it a little bit more. So yeah, I just don't care about like making it super pointy or small or anything like that. Like I literally just add warmth and I'm good with that. But now that we are all bronzed and we have our bronzer on, I'm now going to go back in with my sponge and just blend everything out so that it just looks natural and seamless. Because the key to this routine is literally just to blend any and everything, okay? Any harsh lines, anything, it has to get blended out. So like y'all see how that is a lot more seamless and it just blends right in. Yeah, that's how we want it to look. Very, very natural. Okay, so now that we have everything blended out, we're going to take a break from the face and go into eyes. For eyes, I keep it very, very simple on a day-to-day basis. It's usually like 2 to 3 shadows, if that. So we're just going to do my simple eyeshadow routine today. And usually when I'm doing my eyes, I'll add some concealer to them to like prime them first. But with the look that we're going to do today, we don't really need to. But for the sake of getting the shadows to show up to their full potential, we're just gonna go ahead and do it. But like I said, for this look, you really don't need it because this is about to be so simple. Everything about my everyday look is just very simple. I just focus on enhancing my natural beauty, and it's just like a little something to feel more awake and more put together. So for eyeshadow today, I'm going to be using this palette that I've had in my hand for the entire video. This is the Morphe 18S Sunset Beats palette, and we're just going to go in with some of the brown tones in this palette for the crease. So I'm going to take, it's hard to get y'all to see this, so I'm first going to take this warm brown right here and mix it with this darker brown right here. That first one is called Beach Scene, and this other one down here is called Landscape. Usually for an everyday look, I like to go in with some sort of warm brown in my crease to add more definition. So I'm just going in with both of those. This first one is going to be the main color though, because it's the warm tone. I'm just going to tap into the other one on the bottom a little bit just to make it a little bit darker so that it can stand out against my skin. So I'm just going to tap in, and I'm just going to be placing them very, very messily into the crease. Like I said, it's just to add a little depth and definition. And this brush that I'm using is from Wet n Wild. Like all of my other brushes, I got this brush a very, very long time ago, and it's one of my favorites. It's very, very fluffy, good for applying crease colors like I'm doing right now. And I use this brush on a day-to-day basis to apply my eyeshadows and things. So just like that, real quick and easy, I have that applied to my crease. Now what I'm going to do is take a pencil brush and I'm going to pick up those same 2 shades and apply them to my lower lash line. Now this is something I do when I'm feeling a little bit more extra. Some days I may not have the time to do this. Some days I just apply the crease color and go out the door. But when I have the time, I do like to go in and do this underneath the lower lash line because it just adds to the definition and the drama of your eyes. So just like that, very quick and easy, we have that applied. I just like to have a warm tone brown in my crease. Some days I even go in with my bronzer, but usually I just try to go in with an actual eyeshadow because I have all of these eyeshadow palettes, so why not? But my bronzer works just fine. If I'm in a rush, that is really when I use my bronzer, but I try to use an eyeshadow because that's what it's for, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes I leave it at that and I won't even bother to pick up a lid color or anything like that. Other days I'll just use like a lighter cream color and put it on the lid just to add a little bit more drama or whatever. But today, since I have on this light pink color, I'm feeling like putting a light pink shimmer on the lid, so that's what we're going to do. A lot of the times my everyday makeup routine will depend on what I'm wearing and stuff, so this is just kind of one of those days. So I have this palette that has like a pink shade in it. I will show y'all, but this palette is very old, very dirty, so I'm just not even going to bother. But I'm just going to pick up that pink shade and apply it to my lid. And this brush, I've had it for a very long time as well, and I actually got it in a set that came from like Vanity Planet or something. And those were some of the first brushes, makeup brushes that I got of my own a few years ago. I asked for them for Christmas and I got them and I was so excited. Those are some really good quality brushes, and if I'm not mistaken, they don't even sell those anymore, which I hate because I feel like a lot of the makeup and stuff from back in the day was really good quality. Now brands just kind of try to subscribe to the newest beauty trends and stuff, trying to keep up with the new beauty community, and they just try to keep up with these trends so much that they don't really put a lot of quality time and work into making these new products, and they just aren't as good as they used to be. And I really hate that because a lot of the makeup and stuff that we used to use was really good, and now the stuff that comes out is just not that great. Like, it's not the best, it's just mediocre. It'll get put out on the market and people will say it's good because it's good for the stuff that they have out right now. Does that make sense? I've been using makeup and wearing makeup for a very long time, and a lot of the stuff that people will say is good makeup nowadays isn't really good makeup. Usually it's something way better out there, and something you've been had for a really long time works way better, and you just be wasting your money. Now that I have this pink color applied to my lid, it's time to go in with the eyeliner. And so I'm just going to use my Tarte eyeliner as always. And I don't know what it is about the fall and winter time, but usually for like summer and spring, I'm never pressed about having winged eyeliner. But when it's fall and winter, it's a must for me to put on a wing because I love applying winged eyeliner in the fall and winter. It just looks so good to me. And I just like to do like a little baby cat eye, something just like this. So now I'm going to move on to the other eye. And I have to do all these awkward positions in order to get it right. Okay, so I have the eyeliner on and they're not perfect, but that's okay. It's not gonna be exactly perfect every single day, so we're gonna move on. Our next step is to do mascara because on a day-to-day basis I'm not wearing lashes. I don't have the time, the patience, nor the energy, so mascara it is. And I've always worn mascara on a day-to-day basis. I know a lot of people say that they don't have like long lashes or anything, but with the right mascara them lashes will show up. So I'm first going in with my L'Oreal Telescopic mascara, and this one I use it for lengthening, and I like to take my time with my mascara. A lot of people apply one coat of mascara and then scream that their eyelashes aren't long enough or that the mascara was trash. It's gonna take a few layers to get them to look how you want them to look. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Next, I'm going to go in with my Tarte mascara, and I'm just going to go in and apply a second layer. This one I use more so for volumizing and to make my lashes look thicker. This one is kind of running out, so it feels kind of dry in here. It's not really doing its thing how it usually does. And now I'm gonna go in with the third coat, and this is my final coat. And just like that, the natural lashes are lashing. With this one, I also go in on the bottom with it, and my bottom lashes are pretty long, so I would never go in with the L'Oreal Telescopic on my lower lashes, because then they will outshine my top lashes, and we can't have that. So we're on our final steps, guys. Next, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of brown for my waterliner. I don't do this every day, but for the fall, I've just been kind of feeling it. So I'm gonna go in and put this in my waterline. Now that we've done that, the eyes are all complete. Now I'm going to finish off the face by adding highlighter. And to highlight, I'm using this one from Milani. It's in the shade Sun Glow 03. And I'm just going to add this to the high points of my cheeks. I don't highlight my cheeks every single day. It just kind of depends on how I'm feeling. I know a lot of people are over the whole highlighting the entire face thing, and like I said, it just depends on how I'm feeling. But one thing I have to have is nose highlight and inner corner highlight, because those are just my favorites. So for my inner corners, I'm going to add some of this as well. I like that because it just kind of opens the eyes up. I don't know, it's just so beautiful to me. And since we put pink on our eyelids today, I'm going to go in with that same pink that we used and use it on my inner corners as well. This is like an extra step, but since we did use the pink, I like to match like my inner corner highlight to whatever shade is on my lid sometimes. Like I said earlier, I don't always do a lid color, and it's not always shimmery. I do have my days where I like to match my eyeshadow to my outfit, but I also have those days where I just throw a brown in the crease and call it a day. Some days I go without eyeshadow completely. It just really kind of depends on how I'm feeling. The only things that change on a day-to-day basis changes are like my eyeshadow look and my lip color. If I put a lip color on that day, it just kind of depends on my mood and like my outfit. But other than that, my face pretty much stays the same. So yes, and we're on our final step, guys, which is to do the lips. And I'm not gonna lie, as of late I haven't really been putting a lip combo on every single day, because with the mask it's just kind of pointless and very discouraging. Like, I don't want to have lipstick or lip gloss all over my face all day, so I just rather go without it. But sometimes I do put a lip color on, especially like when I'm around the house and I do my makeup, or I'm just about to run errands or something. I still put a lip color on sometimes. And so today I'm going to show you guys the lip combo that I've been doing when I do put on a lip color. So first I'm starting off with my Colourpop BFF3 lip pencil, and I'm just going to lightly line my lips really quickly. And by now the chapstick that we put on earlier is all soaked in. Okay, and now that we have our lips lined, we can go ahead and put on the lipstick. This is Matte Beauty by Milani, and it's just a light mauve kind of color. Very pretty, and it looks very natural on me for my skin tone and my natural lip color. So I just take this and apply it. This is a very pretty nude for the fall, and I've just been loving putting this on lately. And I don't put a lot on, I just kind of put a little bit and like blend the rest out. And there we have it. This is pretty much the entire makeup look. I know y'all probably wondering about setting spray and stuff. Honestly, on an everyday basis for school and stuff like that, I don't typically use setting sprays, because with the way my oily skin works, after a couple of hours those oils are going to come through, and that is going to act as the setting spray. So usually I really don't need anything to make my makeup like look more skin like or anything, because I'm telling y'all, when them oils come through, they're gonna come through, and they are just going to act as a setting spray and all of the above to make it look more skin like and stuff. So I typically just go without it. But that is the final makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and also subscribe to my channel before you leave. As always, I love you guys all so much, and I really hope to see you guys next time. Bye guys. Mwah.